Now yes, I'm usually the analysis guy, but today we're doing something a little different, and that is of course a top 10 video highlighting my top 10 characters for my all-time favourite fictional series, Monogatari. And honestly, if I have one complaint with Monogatari, is that there is more than 10 characters, and that really bugs me, as it means some of my favourites won't be making this list. If you find yourself entertained at any point during the video, then consider liking, subscribing and ringing that bell, as I cannot explain to you how much just a small action can do for this channel. Also, if you want to support this channel further, then consider pledging to my Patreon. Anyway, on with the video. Number 10 is Hanekawa Tsubasa, the class president among class presidents. Hanekawa has always been an interesting character, as although all of Monogatari's characters have some weird gimmicks, like Senjikahara's full arsenal of stationery, I don't think any are as absurd as Hanekawa's near godlike presence. Something which very much reminds me of another of Nisho Ishin's works, Medaka Box. However, despite all this presentation, Hanekawa is not perfect, far from it. And the exploration of this within both Nekomonogatari's makes this abundantly clear, and I really like that. I think the deconstruction of an almost perfect character is one of Nisho Ishin's best skills as a writer, and although Medaka is another great example of this, the way he writes Hanekawa is just so masterclass that it's something I would only come to expect from my favourite author of all time. Also, Hanekawa can draw a perfect circle without using a compass, a fact courtesy of Hyakumonogatari, and if you've read / listened to Hyakumonogatari, you are an absolute legend. Apart from that, I cannot deny that I love her personality, and her saying will always be one of my favourite quotes in all of fiction. And although there are plenty of great cat girls in fiction, she is by far my favourite. Ogi comes in at number 9, and honestly I find myself liking Ogi more and more as time goes on, so she could easily move up higher in the future. Avoiding spoilers, her and Aragi's relationship is generally one of the best written I've ever seen, and it's one of those reveals that takes you by surprise, but in hindsight makes so much sense. The way she just appears randomly in Kabuki Monogatari and then Hana, Otari, Oni, Suki, Hayomi before actually being properly introduced in the Wari Monogatari is just one example of why Monogatari's non-chronological order is so masterful. And do I really need to mention that Ogi Dark is one of the best arcs in the entire series? She is a mystery incarnate and is everything a Monogatari antagonist needs to be. Mainly that she isn't really an antagonist at all, and honestly, whenever I get round to making a dedicated character analysis of her, dear lord will it be fun. Number 8 is Oshino Shinobu, and I know a lot of people will be shocked to see her so low on the list, but that's just a testament to how much I love the characters above her, as Shinobu is really quite stellar. Her relationship with Aragi on its own is a piece of art, and although yes, their development from Kizune Monogatari to Nissin Monogatari is amazing, what I think is even better is their subtle development from Nissin Monogatari through to the end of the series, which really recontextualizes their relationship even more so. Her backstory, which is covered in the off-season, is also just incredible, and as well as this, Shinobu is just cute and her laugh is to die for. Even if as a vampire, she's already dead. Honestly, I don't have much to say about Shinobu, I just really like her character. Sengoku, our favourite Snake God amateur manga artist, is at number 7, and although I could go on about how well written she is, that kind of is a given when this is a top 10 Monogatari character video. What I will say though is that the way her character is flipped on its head when we see stuff through her own eyes and not Aragi's is one of my favourite ways Monogatari uses its differing narrators to weave a compelling narrative. And although this might be a bit controversial, I am tempted to say she develops the most out of the entire cast, the off-season and monster season obviously being included for this argument. Which is pretty high praise, I think you can all agree. And although yes, it's a very normal thing to say, Rene circulation is amazing, as is Moto Express. Look, I just like snake girls, what else can I say? Number 6 is Oshino Meme, and first off, this dude is just cool as hell. His design is probably my favourite in the entire series, and his attitude and outlook on life is immensely interesting to me. I've always had a soft spot for the cool, cryptic, mentor type characters, and Oshino is by far the best example of one in my opinion. And although his role in the series is actually quite minimal when you think how few parts he actually appears in, I think the fact he still has such an immense impact on the series despite this, it's just a testament to his brilliance. And well, without Oshino, we wouldn't get one of my all-time favourite pieces of voice work in anime. Oshino! Oshino Meme! And good old Aragi, who, spoilers, appears later in this video, would not develop in the beautiful way he does without this old guy passing through. Oh, and PS, I'll be cosplaying him very soon at MCM Comic Con, so stay tuned as I may make a mini vlog of the event. Monkeys are all the rage today, right? So of course Monogatari's own monkey girl Kanbaru makes the list at 5th. First off, she is by far the most fun of Monogatari's cast, with the best dialogue in the series. Like, if I had to have a conversation with any Monogatari character in real life, it would definitely be Kanbaru, as she is just so funny and quirky. She also adds some sapphire flair to the series, and her arc is one of the best in the series in terms of self-reflection, almost rivaling Aragi's development in that regard. Her respective relationships with Senjougahara and Aragi are beyond amazing, and the fact she is known as Kanbari the Game Master to middle schoolers means she is also a gamer girl, and honestly, can you get much better than that? She is a girl who appears to be true to themselves, but inside is not in any regard, and only by addressing this and understanding her own true feelings can she truly become true to herself, and that is just beautiful. Number 4 is Senjougahara, everyone's favourite tsundere, though at times close to a yandere. Since she is the focus of the first arc in the series, and of what very well may be my favourite arc in the series, Hitagi Crab, I of course cannot bring myself to dislike her in any way whatsoever. The way she is very much an abusive partner in aspects due to her background and trauma, but even so grows to be less so and to be truer to her feelings, really makes her feel living and breathing. She is flawed in many ways, and that just makes her all the more believable. I mean, the story started with her, so in a way, it's down to her that we have the series to begin with. She's also a big part of my favourite episode in the entire series, which is episode 3 of Tsubasa Cat in Bakemonogatari, and the fact she is the only major character to never narrate the story, be it in a main part or a short story, just makes her so unique, and I think the fact we never get to see inside her head proper really adds to the allure of her as a character. And let's be honest, who wouldn't want to get a phone call and hear Top 3 time, and starting us out is Aragi himself, our sexually frustrated protagonist. Aragi is my second favourite protagonist in anime, only second to Gintoki, and I think that simple statement really makes clear just how much I like this character. His overall arc of connection, self-perspective and self-worth is a work of art, plain and simple. Now, although scummy, perfume main characters aren't for everyone, I personally love them, with Aragi being the greatest example in my opinion. I honestly don't relate too much to Aragi, which you think would be bad when it comes to a protagonist, but it doesn't really bother me at all, as even if the situations I face don't match up with his own, the fact they are so grounded in reality despite Monogatari's less than grounded world, means I can still fully understand and empathise with his actions and struggles. And there is much more I could say, but since at 2K I'll be dropping a full character analysis on Aragi, you guys will just have to wait till then. Silver medal goes to Kaiki, the best girl in the series, and although it's very much a meme in the community, you cannot deny how amazing Kaiki is. Like if Takasugi didn't exist, he would easily be my favourite antagonist in fiction. His mindset and philosophy on life is really profound in just how unprofound it is. He lies to others and to himself, and that's the core of him. He is a lie, something shown beautifully through his very much unreliable narration in Koi Monogatari. His relationship with Senjougahara is also immensely interesting, and like so much of his character, is up to endless interpretation. And honestly, having written both Kumigawa and Kaiki, I feel we might have to give Nisho Ishino a medal for best antagonist in fiction, as dear lord do his antagonists slap. Now, honourable mentions could include every other Monogatari character, but I guess out of those poor souls who didn't make the list, the ones I love the absolute most are Hajakuji, Karen, Ski, Gaien and Tadatsuru. 1. Ononoke. I know, a big surprise. The character I have an almost life-size plush of is my favourite character in Monogatari. First off, her design, personality and her role in the story is incredible, and that alone could land her the number 1 spot. Add on the fact she's a living doll archetype character, and that's a guaranteed top spot, as if there's one weird trope in fiction I can't get enough of, it's the living doll trope. Don't know why, but I love it, to the point that if you read any of my books, yes I'm plugging my literary endeavours, you will undoubtedly find a living doll type character, as I love them. However, there is one much bigger reason for why I love Ononoke so much, and it comes down to the simple fact that she was the one that made Monogatari my favourite series, and that's not an exaggeration, let me explain. When I first watched the series, I was not in love. In fact, by the time I got to Hana Monogatari, I wasn't even sure it would make my top 50 series. However, then I watched Suki Monogatari, and everything changed. And why was that? Because there was a scene of Ononoke pretending to be a doll. Yes, that's it. That scene for some reason pulled me in. And then when I watched the Warrior Monogatari season 1 afterwards, I was hooked, and I was enjoying the series way more. And then I realised something. Yes, I'd watched 50 plus episodes of this show, but I hadn't been giving it the attention it deserved. And so by the time I finished Soko Warrior Monogatari, it made my top 10 shows. And then when I started rewatching the show from the start, it immediately jumped up to number 1. And I don't know how I didn't love the show when I first watched it, as well it's a masterpiece. But that aside, what would have happened if Ononoke wasn't in the show? I have a really sinking feeling I never would have been pulled in, and to think a world where this isn't my favourite series, it just makes me really sad. So I think you can all understand why I'm so thankful to Ononoke for being the one to make me fall in love with Monogatari, my favourite series of all time. So yay, peace peace. So there you have it, my top 10 Monogatari characters, and like I keep saying, just because a character doesn't make my top 10 doesn't mean I don't love them, because trust me, I probably do. And well, no reason to keep on waffling, let's get on to comment of the week. Comment of the week comes from Yahya Mohammed 2, and yet I finally got around to making the video. If you're interested in my literary endeavours, then why not check out my books Gang Fluid Justice and People of Fate Volume 1, available at Amazon.com. And if you want to help to support this channel, consider pledging to my Patreon, where for as little as £2.75 a month, you can get your name at the end of the video like Hikari Desu. So with all that said and done, I have been Seth the Sin, the Deadly Sin of Geek, and I'm signing out. Stay safe, everyone.